Hey everybody, it's Jason Baja here, and I had a subscriber ask a question, which I will flip in here for you guys. And I always find questions like this amusing for a number of reasons I'll cover in the video. And he's saying, look, I'm going to be taking a vacation overseas for 5 weeks. I won't be able to train at all. And I'm currently running Wendler's 531, the boring but big template. How long will it take me to regain the strength and muscle I lose? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about that. Alright, I'm going to cover this from a couple different angles because this question is more complex than what he's asking. How long will it take you to regain what you lose? Usually time on equal to time off is usually what it will take. So basically, if you're not training for 5 weeks, expect 5, maybe 6 weeks to regain everything that you lose. That's perfectly normal. And that's assuming you're not completely sedentary and bedbound. That can be a totally different animal. So that's normal, and that's usually how it goes. Anytime you take downtime, expect an equal amount of time to regain what you lost. You take 6 months off, expect to be back in the gym 6 months to get back where you were. Pretty normal. Sometimes you don't ever fully get back to where you were. I didn't. I took almost 4 years off from training due to illness, 10 months in bed, and I didn't quite regain where I had been, because when I got sick, I was benching 405 and squatting about 550. I didn't quite regain that. You know, you guys have seen me bench mid 300s. You guys have seen me squat just over 5. But I didn't get back to those other numbers. Then again, I'm also in a different decade now. You know, because that happened kind of when I was 30. Around 30, I had to quit training. And now I'm 40. So I didn't quite regain that. But in the case of shorter time periods, usually time off equal to time on. So that's normal, but here's the question that I would have to ask you. Why is it that you can't train? Now, I can understand when you say, I'm going to do a bunch of work. I'm going to be working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, doing this really intensive project overseas. And you know, my company doesn't want me being near any gyms. They want me resting in between, and I'm going to be maybe offshore or whatever. Actually, that doesn't even apply. You know what? Because if you've ever been out on a oil or a natural gas platform out in like the Gulf of Mexico, they all have gyms at them. The ones that I have seen have gyms in them with weight rooms. So that's not an excuse to be out stranded on a platform in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. There's gyms. You can work out. Because, you know, in addition to the unlimited food, they usually have chefs there also. But steel paradise. So that's not an excuse, even work or whatever. So I don't understand. And people would say, well, you know, I'm on vacation. I don't want to exercise. You don't exercise at all on a vacation? I thought exercising and fitness is part of your life. If it is, why would you consider a vacation to take time away from something that you do that makes you feel good, that improves your health, that improves your energy? Why wouldn't you do that when you're on your vacation? I don't understand what you're saying there. And a way to look at that is, well, where exactly are you going? Because that doesn't make sense. There's gyms almost everywhere in the world. You could find a gym somewhere to do some basic training. Now, I can understand if you're out in the middle of Nigeria or Cameroon or somewhere, but again, I wouldn't be vacationing there. All right, maybe they don't have good Olympic plates. You won't be able to deadlift heavy and stuff. But most places in the world that people go on vacation, there are gyms. There are gyms at vacation resorts. There are gyms on cruise ships. There are gyms in every city in the world. You're telling me you're going on vacation somewhere and you can't find a gym? You can't train? I don't understand that. Like, which city are you going to? Where are you going? Because most vacation places that people go to for vacations have training facilities available almost everywhere. Doesn't matter whether it's North America, Europe, Asia. So no training is also a broad term. You could find ways to train. You could find things to do. You know what I would say? Start with, what was his name? Brooks something. He wrote a book I read years ago called Dinosaur Training, and it was fantastic. Because the guy didn't really do a lot of weights. He just found different heavy objects to pick up and move and do things around his yard and everything. And he was an older guy, and he called it Dinosaur Training. And look the book up if you get a chance. So if you're stuck out somewhere doing something, dinosaur training would be something you could do. Because maybe you're going someplace with no technology. You're being dropped in out on a desert island with no metal available, right? You have no plates, no iron. You're going on vacation in an island 100 miles off the coast of Africa. You're being dropped in. Because I'm going to take the most extreme example, because this is the only way I can envision this vacation with no training facilities available. So I'm going to take something that's absurd to the furthest possible absurdity and show that this doesn't make sense. All right, so you get dropped on an island, but there's trees and rocks, right? Well, what could you do with trees and rocks and vines? Well, you could do whatever you want. Why can't you do a full normal workout? You can find rocks of different sizes that you could pick up. You can deadlift them. You can do loaded carries, you can do weighted carries. You could pick those big rocks up and clean and press them. Rowing might be a little bit hard, but the same thing. How about you find some big tree logs? There's got to be some big trees somewhere that have fallen over. Couldn't you pick those up, pick up one end of them? Maybe find you some vines to make little things that you could grip onto. You could make handles, wrap them around a big fallen tree on the ground, and you could do rows with that. You could lay down and use those trees to do chest presses. You could do basically floor presses with big heavy logs that you find. You could definitely do all sorts of deadlifts and overhead pressing though with rocks, trees, whatever. You could find stuff. You know what? If you really got it in really wanted to push it to the limit, you could even do your cable exercises. You know what? You could find some vines. Why don't you find some vines out there in the jungle on this island you've been dropped on, and you could throw them over a tree, and you could tie rocks onto them, and you could do cable press downs. And the fact that you've got trees there, I bet you there's a tree with a limb somewhere that you could do chin-ups on, pull-ups on. You could maybe even find two trees and drop them, have them knocked on the ground, or between two branches, a Y in a tree somewhere. You could climb up there and you could do dips. So when a person tells me that they're going to go on a vacation like that and they're going to be out on a desert island with no metal available, how could they can't train? Well, why not? There's not rocks and trees and vines and all sorts of shit laying around on the ground. Do you have to have an actual gym to train on a desert island? There's no requirement to have technology to do all this stuff, especially bodyweight stuff. And you know what? You could even do weighted chin-ups and weighted dips. Find that tree to do chin-ups on, and find you a vine and tie a rock around it and hang it down between your legs. You could do weighted chin-ups. So, how in the world is someone not able to train? You could find a way to train. With literally no equipment. You know what? You could probably get pretty damn big and pretty damn strong if you can find some big enough rocks. You can find some 300 or 400 pound rocks to do some weighted carries with or pick up. You can get pretty big and strong. I mean, you get to where you can hang a 50-pound rock off of a vine and do 10 chin-ups off of the tree. You're going to be pretty damn strong. You're going to be pretty big too. So what scenario on this desert island, stranded in the middle of nowhere that you've been dropped into, they're going to fly a helicopter back over and drop you a line down and pull you back up in 5 weeks, or you're not able to train? I'm struggling to envision this world. There's no excuses like that. And the same thing, you're going anywhere else, there's gyms everywhere. There's gyms in Russia. You go on vacation in Russia, you're going to go over to Thailand. There's gyms in these places. Gym in every city in Europe. In fact, a lot of cities in Europe have more gyms per capita than we do in a lot of places in the U.S. So even if you're going to go 5 weeks on tour around the country in the U.S., you can get day passes at gyms everywhere. In fact, here's what I would say. If you're going to take a road trip in the U.S. for 5 weeks and drive around in an RV for your vacation, why don't you get a 24-hour fitness membership? Get the big super one that's nationwide. And then for that 5 weeks, guess what? Every city you stop in, there's going to be a 24-hour fitness somewhere. You can go in there and train when you happen to just slip through on your road trip. You can train at 2 in the morning, middle of the day. It doesn't matter. There are options available to you if you're in the U.S., and there's gyms like that in other places too. So even taking a 5-week road trip, driving around the country in an RV, get a 24-hour fitness. You can still train 3, 4, 5 days a week if you wanted. Now, I don't think you need to do that many. But the whole idea is that there is a way to train. I cannot envision any situation around the world in which you can't train, where you have a 5-week period of time where you can't find something to pick up and move and deadlift and overhead press or carry, or a bar or a tree to do a chin-up on. It's just not even remotely imaginable. And the other question I would ask you, some people say, well, I'm on vacation, I don't want to do that. You're going to take 5 weeks off from something that's an important part of your lifestyle? If you're fitness enthusiast and you enjoy training and you enjoy the health benefits, why would you consciously and intentionally take 5 weeks off from it when you could absolutely do it? You're just saying, hey, I just don't want to train for 5 weeks. That's what you're actually saying. All right. And I understand that you're on a normal structured program, but taking 5 weeks away to just doing other stuff is not going to hurt your progress. As long as you maintain your size and your strength from what you do, you'll be able to flip right back into your program and be caught back up inside of a week. All right, it's that simple. So again, questions like this are really kind of funny when you think about them. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.